Welcome. Here's Fred Kuhn and our next guest. Enjoy.
Welcome, everybody. Our subject today is you're fired. What do you do now? What do you tell your friends? All of those kinds of things. Our guest is Loraine Beaman. Loraine is a graduate of UC Berkeley and has her master's from Cal State Chico. She's a certified life coach, a nationally certified resume writer, and a certified interview coach. Welcome, Loraine.
Thank you so much for having me today.
You're very welcome. Exciting subject, and this is really targeted for the newly graduated, first-time job market because many of the younger folks do not know what to do if they get laid off or fired, especially if they're fired. A lot of questions to be answered. So let's start with the first question. How do I prepare to be fired? What do I need to do?
I think the first thing is to get in the right mindset. It's not a pleasant experience, but if you go into it understanding how you got to where you are and what's going to happen, it takes some of the fear out and it gives you some energy to work through the process. So the first thing I talk to people about is debunking the myths of being terminated. Most people who get fired think it is totally their fault, that they did something so terribly wrong that they will never go to work again. And rarely are those things true. So I encourage you to start your preparation for possible termination by realizing some of the reasons that terminations and layoffs happen. And I think one of the number one causes, especially for young folks, is that good-meaning supervisors who hire based on personality rather than skill level hire you, and then after a few months, everyone thinks you are a great coworker and really enjoy being around you, but you don't have the skills to do the job. And other times, you do have the skills, but the supervisor didn't take into consideration the team you would be working for and working with, and so it's just not a good match personality-wise.
Many times in my long career, I would see supervisors who were promoted to be supervisors because they were good at sales, let's say. Mm-hmm. And they really weren't good managers. So they don't know how to manage. They mismanage the team, and then somebody has to pay the price for it. And generally, it's the newbie.
Right. You're perfectly right. And then in other cases, what happens is there'll be a new technology come in, but the training won't come behind it. And so, again, you're stuck in a job that you really don't know how to do because you haven't had the opportunity to learn the skills. And I don't know about you, Fred, but sometimes I see when companies merge, people are laid off or terminated because they want to fill that position with somebody from the other company.
Or we see it at the executive level, Loraine. The new president or CEO comes in, he brings his team with him, they bring their teams with them, has many times nothing to do with the people that are there. So there are multiple causes why you're laid off, which when you're fired, though, I will tell you, when you're fired, your heart goes to your stomach, fear sets in, your adrenaline starts running, and that's when it gets really tough. And if you have a strategy and a plan like you and I are going to talk about, it makes it much easier because action always replaces fear.
And some people may find some comfort in numbers. And so if you look at the year 2016, over 19 million people were fired or laid off. And so when you're thinking you're the only one, you're not. It is unfortunately a part of business. And again, oftentimes you have no control over it. It's not something you've done. It's changes in the business climate, changes in managers, changes in technology. And if you follow, and I'm sure you do, Fred, the reemployment numbers, you realize that there are not 19 million people who did not find employment after they were terminated or laid off. So I think as you go into it, you want to think about the fact that now the reality is sometimes you really hate your job and you're not performing well. That happens too. But that doesn't mean that it's the end of your career.
No.
It means that it's an opportunity to step back and say, okay, I can take control of my career. Where am I going next?
Our first question was, how do I prepare to be fired? What I tell people, the day you report to your new position, you start documenting all of your accomplishments, every
Mhm.
one of them. If you're asked to do something, what did you do? Who asked you? Why did they ask you? What was it about you that made them target you instead of somebody else to do the job? What was the job? How well did you do? What were your quantifiable, measurable results? Those are the things that you keep records on because it makes it so much easier when you're interviewing and also when you're looking for a new job to change that resume and add that stuff in and make it a more powerful document because you gained that experience for whatever period of time you're there.
And just reading over that list helps you realize that you really were an effective contributing employee.
I was thinking about your second thought, Loraine. If you don't like your job, you should have done this in the first place. But, why did you take the job? What was it about it that you thought was going to be great? Is that great to you? Right? And then if it's not great to you, then maybe you got the wrong reasons for that job. But if it was great for you and the circumstances of the boss or whatever, you don't get along, start looking for another job. Don't take a person or a company's money if you're unhappy being there. Go be happy somewhere else.
And, that's part of the strategy, too, is if you see a termination coming towards you, there's lots of strategies. Do I wait and get fired? Do I leave? And you have to kind of look at your finances and figure out what works for you. But oftentimes, if you're not happy or you see these changes, one of the things you can do is, because you have documented everything, you're ready to do a job search, you can escalate your job search, quickly find another position, and then tell your employer that you're leaving. Sometimes being fired comes as a total shock. Other times you're not shocked, and if you think it's coming, you really want to have that discussion with yourself. Should I get out of here before I'm terminated?
And like you said, it's also financial strategies, whether you apply for unemployment. If you quit, you're not entitled to it. If you do, and in some states, and if you are fired, then you're entitled to unemployment compensation.
Across the board, you should always be ready to look for your next job because you never know what's going to happen with the company that you're working for.
Okay, Loraine Beaman, I'm fired. It's 4 or 5 in the afternoon when they usually fire people and let people go clean out your desk. I'm staying with mom and dad, or I'm staying with my roommates who are expecting me to contribute to the next month's rent. What do I say to my friends and colleagues and my family?
Okay, first of all, be honest with them. A lot of people think that being fired or laid off is so shameful that they shouldn't tell their families. I've known people who have gotten up every day, left, gone to the local coffee shop, and come home. Your friends, family, and even the colleagues that you're close to, they care about you. They want to help you. So be honest. Say something like, I got fired. I need your help to find my next job, and then share with them the direction that you want your career to take. And if you need a formal thing, you can say something like, my skills and what the company needed didn't match, but I did learn to find out what a company wants before I accept my next job. So I am so ready to go out and do a job search. I hope you can help me along the way.
The worst thing you can do is bitterly complain, talk about other people, blame other people. It casts negatively, even though it may be family and friends. It will diminish you in their eyes. Gee, I didn't know he was like that or she was like that. You need to be a professional and you need to buck up. And like Sergeant Figge said, that's a personal problem. Suck it up, move out. It's the same kind of thing in a job search. You have to be assertive, you have to be positive, because that's the persona that people will see. And if you are trying to network and the first thing that comes out of your mouth is negative, they're not going to introduce you to others, but I'm not going to introduce them as negative. So positive, positive, positive. Great company. Really liked my experience there. Merger and acquisitions happen all the time. Hey, they overhired, they overstaffed, the economy went down in their sector. There's 1,000 reasons you can give that you can just make a statement and then go on. And boy, did I learn a lot there. It was a wonderful, wonderful time in my life. And now I'm ready to seek my new challenge, something that's positive, not negative.
Your friends and your family and your colleagues will take their cues from you. And if you're very negative and upset, they're going to be sympathetic, but that's where it's going to stay. They're going to be, oh, we're so sorry. And it's going to be a pity party, as we often say, when really you've got this group of people who are so committed to you, they will help you find the next job. See, it's, think about, do you want them to sit around and go, oh, gee, I'm so sorry? Or do you want them to go, wow, we need to help you get another job. I know this person and this person and this person. It's attitude, and it's also managing your career. And so, I can't encourage people enough. Yes, it's okay to be sad. And in fact, that's one of the things. You will be sad. Losing your job, even if you hated that job, it's a break in your daily activity. And it's okay to be sad for a day or two. But if it extends beyond that, you need to reach out and get some help, because
that's right.
That is part of the process of moving through.
Well, there's a curve, isn't there? Shock, fear, anger, depression, and then from there depends on you.
And so if you're not moving through that process quickly, that's the time to really reach out for help and say, I'm stuck. I need some coaching. I need some counseling, because this is not going to get the better of me. I'm going to move on and have a wonderful career. This is not going to stop me.
Last question. What do you tell somebody when they say, well, why were you fired? Why did you leave? They'll be polite, many people, but some will be coarse and say, why were you fired? What do you say?
Okay, if it's during a job interview, again, I always encourage people to put it in their own words, but I always suggest you say something like, my boss and I came to realize I was not a good fit for the job. So it was not fun losing my job. It was an amazing learning experience. I now know it is my responsibility to make sure I have the skills and personality an employer is seeking before I accept a job. Based on everything we've discussed and what I've read about this company, I think I'm going to be an excellent employee. So take it from admit what happened, but then leave on the upbeat that, you're highly qualified and that you're a good fit for the company you're applying with.
There's another approach that I would add to that as a kind of a footnote, and that is, yes, I left my last job because my boss and I agreed that it was not a good fit. However, while there, I really was able to hone and then you list your skill sets. Mm-hmm. So it moves it from, okay, one half sentence about, okay, I was fired, not a good fit, but here's what I honed and did a good job with, and list your skill sets. I learned to whatever your particular skill is, and further, I improved my communication skills, I improved my whatever. So that's why I'm excited about seeking a new employment where I can now use these better refined skills.
However you decide to respond to that question, you want to turn it into the positive, that you are, from that experience, you have grown so that you are going to be a top employee with the company that you're interviewing with.
So, folks, thank you for coming to Workplace Strategies today. Our guest has been Loraine Beaman, and you may find Loraine's contact information on the guest biographies section of our website. Loraine, thank you so much for joining us. Would you like to do another one of these at some point?
I'd be delighted to meet with you and discuss career topics of your choice.
Thank you very, very much.
Thanks for joining us. If you wish to speak with Fred, or you want a transcript of this interview, send an email to podcast@stuartcoopercoon.com. See you soon.